Hey, Robin, we got another question on Ask Dr. E, which you can ask any question you would like to ask at askdre.com. And the question is absolutely anonymous, so you can write something in there and we'll look over the questions, and yours might be the one that we pick. The one we picked this week is a lady that wrote in, and she and her husband are fighting a lot because their kids are completely out of control, and they have different ideas about how to discipline them. And as you might imagine, that's become a real issue. Have you ever seen this, what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Yeah.
More than once.
Yeah. In what regard?
Oh, several families.
Yeah.
I won't say, but just several families. Yeah.
No, don't name names, obviously, but when we've had experiences where we've gone to somebody's house and the kids are so disrupted, the adults can't even have a conversation.
Right.
And so that's a real issue. It's a real problem.
It is a problem.
I remember one time we had a couple that came over to our house, and Robin has a lot of knickknacks. This is back many years ago when we were first married, and she has a lot of knickknacks around the house. And so the mother came in saying, Robin, you put that away, put that away, put that away, or else my son will break it. And so we both insisted, no, he'll be okay. Well, we were wrong, because after they had been there just a short while, he picked up one of Robin's favorite little knickknacks and chunked it across the room and broke it into 1,000 pieces. So I think that we're living in a day and time where people are very confused about how do we raise our kids. Some people believe in spanking. Other people don't believe in spanking. Some people might do timeout. Others don't do timeout. Right. So it's become a real issue. Now, what do you think about why kids turn out being so disruptive and almost angry? What do you think that causes that?
They have no boundaries. Parents aren't setting the discipline. It's this, you do it one time, whatever their discipline is. Mm-hmm. Then they stretch it to 2 and 3. They there's never a boundary. Or they have no boundaries.
Yeah.
And they don't know where's the line for me. So they get away with everything. And That's very confusing to children. They need boundaries. They want
lack
to have
of consistency.
Yes, lack of consistency.
Yeah, one time they can do it and get punished for it, and the next time they can do it and nothing happens.
Right.
So just inconsistency, I think, is a huge deal, and we see this all the time.
Right. It's very scary for a child to think, I'm in control.
Yeah.
I'm in control, even though they think they like it, but still it's very scary for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there'd be anything more frightening than to be 10 years old and be your own boss. Mm-hmm. And that's not really what kids want. I mean, even if they act like they do, want to call their own shots, that's not really what they want. And that's why parents are there. And I always remind parents is that you're supposed to be their parent, not their best friend. Mm-hmm. And the friendship, of course it's there, but they need somebody to parent them. They've got a lot of friends in life, at school, and maybe church, wherever else they go. They've got friends. They need someone to guide them in life. So jot down a few things that I think might help this mother, if she will be consistent, and it involves both of them, the mother and the dad. If they'll both be consistent, I think it might make a huge difference. And one of them is you've got to show your kid genuine love. Mm-hmm. Or kids, plural, genuine love, not the worldly kind of love that we see today, which is real inconsistent in and of itself, where I love you today, I don't love you tomorrow, we'll be together forever, I'm leaving tomorrow, those kind of things. So how do you think, Robin, parents can show their kids genuine love?
Well, the unconditional love, no matter what they do, that you love them. You still hug them. You still tell them how important they are, how much they're worth, because they are. You could never replace them. You just tell them, I love you with all my heart. And you can't do anything that will make me not love you. But these are the rules. Mm-hmm. And no matter what they do, you still love them. Even when you are getting onto them and disciplining them, they still need to feel that love from you. Don't ever punish when you're angry. Don't ever discipline when you're angry. Because that's Mark and I, we had 3 swats was our rule.
Yeah.
3 swats, that was it.
We were spankers. Now, you may not like that.
May not. Yes, we did.
Well, we hardly ever had to do it.
And I had a wooden spoon.
Yeah.
That's what we used.
Yeah.
And never more than 3. Sometimes it was only 1. That's all they needed. But and every child is different. Don't try to discipline them the same way. Well, each child differently.
I remember when our oldest son was a little boy, and when he would get mad, he would hold his breath till he would literally pass out. And it would make me so upset at him because he was doing that out of anger. And so I would
But
tell
he
him.
did it at 2 weeks old, y'all.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
very frightening for
Yeah.
me.
At 2 weeks old, he started very.
Thank goodness the pediatrician saw it and he said, ooh, he has a temper.
But when he was about 4 years old, I would tell him, listen, if you hold your breath, I'm going to spank you. So don't hold your breath. And I was consistent with that, except it didn't work. And so I was taking a course called behavior modification at that time when I was getting my degree in psychology. And I thought, well, I'm going to try something different with him because what we were doing was not working.
Right.
Now, he happened to be a kid that loved chocolate, specifically M&Ms. And so I told him one day before I went to work. Yeah, he still does. He's still a chocoholic. But I told him one day, I said, listen, if you won't hold your breath between now and the time I get home for lunch, I'll give you half a bag of M&Ms. And I came home that day and he had not held his breath. And then I told him when I left from lunch to go back to work, I said, listen, if you won't hold your breath from now until I get back from work, I'll give you the other half of that bag of M&Ms. And he didn't hold his breath. And so it took he might have a few times during that, but really that's what helped him get a hold of his anger, where he wasn't just holding his breath and
Found other ways to cope with it.
yeah. And so I think sometimes you can lock into one method of discipline. It may not be the method that your kid needs. In fact, the Bible says, train up a child in his own way, and when he is old, he'll not depart from it. And that phrase, when he is old, means when he starts to get hair on his chin. He's turning into a teenager. And so the phrase, train up a child in his own way, we could say in his or her own way, means you know your child, know what works with them, and what doesn't work with them. So you're training them up in their own way, the way God made them. For instance, you may have a father that loves sports, and he wants his son to play sports. And his son might be more interested in music, and sports are not his thing. Well, I don't have any issue with a father saying, at least try it. If you don't like it, then that's fine. But I think the mistake that we sometimes make is we try to force our kids into a mold that God never created them to be. And so we need to support them in those desires where they feel like, I love music. Well, if you love music, I love music because I'm your dad and I support you in that. I know that's the way you've always been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So genuine love, unconditional love is one thing. I think another thing, and I'll tell a quick story, we'll bring this session to an end, is absolute respect. You cannot expect your children to respect you if you don't show your spouse respect and if you don't show them respect. One of the most...
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Say something here? Don't be a screamer. Yelling and screaming and you throwing a fit in getting onto them and embarrassing them in public or at home. No, that's a never. Don't do it. Don't humiliate them.
Well, it
Don't.
confuses them.
Yeah. Plus, how would you like to be treated like that?
Yeah, screamed at.
Yeah, that's wrong. I mean, I've seen it in public, and I would just tell you, I walked over to many a mama or a grandma and said, not here. Not here. Because, I know that was none of my business, some of you think, but that's not fair for the child, and who can stand up for them? That's just ugly and shouldn't be done.
Yeah, and it happens a lot.
It does.
I think kids respond to sternness, but not screaming, at least not the way you want them to respond. I was at a baseball game one time, and there was a little boy playing third base, and his dad was railing on him the whole game. He would just on him. He couldn't do anything right. He couldn't throw right. He couldn't catch right. He couldn't bat right. Nothing. And so there was a point where they were ahead, and the kid came up to bat on the opposing team, hit the ball, and it was a grounder, and it went right between the little boy's legs. He's probably about 10, maybe around that age. Went right between his legs and rolled all the way out to left field. Because the kid had really hit it hard. Well, his dad standing right there on the fence by the third base started screaming at him. He told his son, he said, "You are worthless. You're not even my son." And thankfully, the umpire called timeout, went over to the fence and told that dad, "You will leave the field." And when he started to walk away, the people in the bleachers or the stands just started applauding because it was just terrible. And I wondered,
It was awful.
yeah, if he would yell at his kid and talk to his kid like that in public, what was that boy living through in private? when no one was watching.
It was hell what he lived at home.
Absolutely. It was just a terrible thing. So we need to remember as parents to genuinely love our kids. We need to absolutely show them respect, that we love them and respect them, and don't ever, under any circumstance, humiliate your children. And so I would say those are a couple things. We'll readdress this question later on, but that's probably enough time for this particular video. So I thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Robin, for being with us. And let me encourage you to go to Ask Dr. E, AskDre.com, and you can ask a question there if you'd like to do so. And your question might be the one that we choose for the week. So I appreciate you coming. Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit that little bell. Share if you'd like to. We appreciate all that you have done and what you need.
Hug your children. Tell them you love them.
Hug your
at least once, maybe 50 times today.
That's exactly right. And I think if you'll just try those two things, genuine love, the unconditional love, and showing them respect and being consistent, that's the major thing. Just be consistent. So thanks for joining us today. God bless you. We'll see you next week on Ask Dr. E.